Hey, I am ready to talk to you all about seasonal living today and what it actually looks like practically in my house right now. What am I doing? The 6 ways that I'm wintering in this season. And I really hope this helps you because it's all about how to really embrace this time of the year, how to look outside of the seasons and realize, okay, wintering in is going to make me feel a certain way. And when you actually give yourself permission to live in that way, how it in turn can make you more productive and avoid burning out by the time spring hits you. So, and it can also make you just feel so much more fulfilled as a family to lean into these seasons and carve out some time every week to enjoy it, to know that this season is not going to last forever. Not a hypothetical way, but um in an actual way. So what do I want to do with my two littles and my family right now during this season with the elements that we have in nature at this time? And what how can I fit that into my already pretty packed schedule? So, we're going to talk about all of that today. And I also want to invite you for probably the last time I'm going to be saying this our winter retreat for moms and kids happening February 14th through the 17th in Hudson Valley, New York. And we have 2 rooms left and 1 spot left in one of our sharing rooms. And at the moment, I'm talking to 2 moms who are interested in booking those 2 last rooms. So if you are interested, now is the time to commit. And we are most likely going to open up one more room that our staff is in right now, where we usually have guests in. So don't feel bad if you do if you do want a room still. We will make space for you probably if you're the next 3 people who get in touch with us. And yeah, so we want to make space. And I would also caveat here that the rooms that we have left, you can come and have that dedicated private room and bath, or you can also come and decide to share with a mom friend. So I am offering an option to come with a mom friend and their child if it's a friend or if it's a family member and you're comfortable sharing a room. I mean, the rooms are they're pretty spacious, but you have to be comfortable sleeping next to each other. And then I am giving a special discount for that option to come. And as I did mention, we do also have a sharing room with a mom who's already coming with her child if you're comfortable sharing with another mom and child that you don't know, but you want to just, connect and it'll be like a slumber party and it'll be fun. And you also save about 50% on our private room prices. So if that interests you, please get in touch with me. You can contact me, Monica at wanderwildfamilyretreats.com, because those options are not all on our website. And just in general, if you have any questions, please let me know. All right, so enjoy this episode, and I hope to see you at the winter retreat. If you've been in limbo, now is the time to fully commit. And yeah, if not, just lean into seasonal living, and I hope that you get some really good takeaways from this episode today. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Monica Verga Alborno, and this is the Wand Her Wild podcast, a space for modern mothers reclaiming their wild, living with intention, and redefining what it means to feel fulfilled while raising a family. Here we explore mindful motherhood, conscious parenting, feminine rhythms, and the power of self-discovery. Guided by curiosity, we share honest stories, soulful conversations, and actionable steps you can weave into your full, everyday lives. So, seasonal living to me really means to check in with what's happening in nature, to look outside the window and take a cue from nature. It seems really simple, but to me, that's what it really means. It's the seasons are changing. If you're in the northern hemisphere, like right now, we're in winter. We just went through the autumn. Spring will be coming soon, followed by summer. And it's the wheel of the year, and the seasons are changing and things are happening. And we see the plants taking a cue from what's happening with the weather and the seasons. We see animals reacting to it. And we are here too, living in nature. Like, yes, we are housed and we are many times living a very um indoors lifestyle. But at the end of the day, we are affected by what's happening in nature. And if we start to take cues from nature, at least for me anyway, it's been making me feel it's been helpful. It makes me feel like I have permission certain times of the year to feel a certain way and move in a certain way. And also just understand like what my year is going to look like and be more practical about what my family is ready to take on and what I'm ready to take on in a capacity in my personal life and also with work too. This is really helpful. So, yeah, so for me, seasonal living really is just taking cues from nature. Like that's the definition for me is looking outside your window, paying attention when you're walking outside of the door. What are the plants doing? What are the animals doing? And how is that affecting me right now? And should I be making some changes? Should I be leaning into it a little bit more? And this goes for anyone. Like, if you are a high achieving working parent who has feeling like no additional time in their life for anything else, you can still make small little adjustments to live with the seasons. So bear with me if you feel like you don't have time for this, because if you want to make the space for it, you can. These do not have to be really big shifts in your life. We are wintering in right now. And yes, let's take a cue from looking out of my window over here on the side as I'm recording. It there was snow on the ground recently here. It has melted, but the trees are bare. The animals are very quiet. A lot of them are cozying in under the ground, keeping warm, moving a lot slower. There are a lot of darker days here in Norway right now, and we are all moving a bit slower. We're spending less time outdoors, more time just cozying in. It's colder, and we're getting a lot less sun than usual. So it's making I'm looking at what's happening with the leaves. Like, this is an ending of something with the leaves falling, with animals hibernating in, cozying in. And there are darker days, we're colder, we're sheltering in, and we are moving slower. And so I'm just seeing, okay, that's what's happening outside. And my body, if I'm being honest, is probably feeling a lot of those similar things. Like, we just had New Year's, right? And New Year's has traditionally been all about New Year's resolutions and this thing that's pretty outdated now, but this whole like new year, new you thing where we start all these New Year's resolutions and ideas of what we want this new year to bring to us. And we feel like we have some obligation to want to like hit the ground running, but a lot of us might not necessarily always really be ready for that because we have this battle with nature. Like, this is what's happening right now. We are wintering in. And leading into seasonal living for me has just been my validation that it's okay to lean into these elements of what's happening. So for me, wintering in is looking outside again at nature and seeing, okay, this is what's going on right now, and this is how it's affecting me and also my littles in my home, my husband, our dog, who's usually always sleeping on the couch behind me and just turned 15 this week. She's now officially in her 90s in human years. But it's all about what can I do this season to embrace wintering in and embrace seasonal living rather than try and move through it in a way that might not really be true. Okay, and so I wanted to share 6 ways that I am wintering in and leaning into seasonal living in my home right now so that, this is actually realistic, even in a family with 2 working parents. And yes, I am an entrepreneur working from home, so it has become easier. But I can tell you, even when I was in the corporate life, working very long hours and building the entrepreneurial business, I was still able to do these. So I do believe anyone can access these. And my husband is doing them, and he's traveling for work and working full time in an office all day. So, um, yes. So, number one is just the things that we're eating are changing. We are leaning into, if you've heard of intuitive eating before, like what your body actually wants right now. What are you craving? Like, there's certain things that you start kind of just craving this time of the year. You want cozier comfort foods, things that are higher density in salt. For us, we like a lot of citrus, a lot of vitamin C, we're not getting as much sunlight, and we're also having a lot more fish oil, and omega-3. And that is just coming into our diet, so we're paying attention more. And when I'm talking about salt too, I'm talking about like sea salt that is natural, not a lot of processed sodium type stuff, right? But just to replenish our electrolytes. And so for that, it's just going into how we're eating our meals. And we kind of have a routine with breakfast and lunch that is pretty similar throughout the year, but for dinner, we're really leaning into that way of eating more. And yeah, it works for us. And we feel like we have more energy when we're eating these foods that are replenishing parts of our nutrients that are maybe more deficient this time of the year because we have a lot less sunlight than normal. Number two is movement. It's important to move, but this time of the year, we might feel like we want to move slower. And I'm giving myself permission to say, like, that's okay. I have been trying to exercise a lot more the past couple weeks just because it makes me feel great. It makes my mood feel brighter and lighter, especially with the darker days. But some of my movement is slower, like longer hold poses. I really enjoy yin yoga this time of the year. My kids really enjoy doing mommy me yoga, and we'll just hold some poses even like before bed and do like a nice little like bedtime routine. And just doing movement that doesn't necessarily have to reflect like a hustle culture type vibe. It can be, and that's okay if you want to have some higher impact. I've been doing some like plyo and some more cardio recently, but then I also integrate these like slower movement, longer hold poses that are really leaning into um opening up my hips, thinking about my posture because we're usually inside a lot more, sitting at screens this time of the year. So things like that that I know are going to support my overall well-being more. And my kids are watching me do it, so they also are doing it with me, and we are all moving in that way together. Number 3 is I do this without really even understanding. Okay, I mean, yes, I know that it's the end of 2025 calendar year and it's now 2026, but I even found myself in Q4 of 2025 starting to reflect on this past year. And before I really dive into stuff in 2026, that is like family planning, like what are we going to do this year? Where are we going to be? Where are we traveling? And also work, like what do I want to be doing this year? What projects do I want to take on? Is there anything I want to step back from, let go of? Whatever it might be, I always take some time to reflect on just what this last year looked like. And I encompass that in a very holistic way, right? So, what did my personal well being look like? Like, how well did I take care of myself? What was I eating? What was my movement like that were in points one and two? What did my work life look like? And did it make me feel good? Were there parts of it that don't feel aligned anymore? Are there parts that I'm really excited about? Are there parts I'm ready to grow and expand? What are my relationships looking like right now? And what is life looking like for my kids on a day to day? And where do I want to expand on that and create change or hold on to things that are working well? And maybe if we need new systems, whatever it might be, I'm just reflecting without taking any action yet, but just reflecting on what that's looked like in the past 12-month calendar year. So that's number 3. And then number 4 is after I've taken some time to do that, and by the way, I'm not doing all of that in like one day. I probably started doing this end of November. Every Saturday or Sunday, one day a weekend, I would take out my journal and for 5 minutes just write down some reflection things that I would like to yeah, just kind of digest. And I did that for a couple weeks. So this again like does not take a lot of time out of your day. It's you take 5 minutes on a weekend morning, take your journal out while your kids are playing or whatever you're doing when you have your morning hot beverage, whatever it might be. For me lately, it's been matcha tea. That's like my thing. I make matcha at home on the stove. Um or black coffee because I'm a coffee girl. Um, but, and then I just reflect and write down some points. So now I've closed that, and in January of 2026, I was ready to start planning and envisioning the months ahead. So you can do this in your own time. For me, when January started rolling around, even I'd say like towards the end of December, I was ready to start thinking about planning and envisioning the months ahead. So this is point number 4 that we are on now, is planning and envisioning the months ahead. And I like to do a whole calendar year. It might always change, like things can always change and take longer than planned or shift and move. We all know with kids, things are unpredictable and life in general is unpredictable. But, we can make a plan. It's okay to still envision a plan, and manifesting isn't for everyone, but envisioning something, like having that vision and that plan, and then at least having that as a foundation helps a lot to achieve your goals, right? And I can say this firsthand. This is how I've always like brought crazy things into my life that I've been able to achieve, is from doing this. Is just envisioning and then making a plan. So these things that I was reflecting on with my work, my life, my relationships, my well-being, my kids, I think about, okay, what are the main things that I want to achieve in 2026? I'm going to envision those things and plan those things out of how the year is going to unfold, how I would really like it to unfold. Okay. And then number 5 is I'm envisioning, I'm planning, but then we need to actually create things to do, right? To make it happen, to bring it into actual reality. And so that goes into point number 5. It's creating a day and a weekly schedule that allow for this all to unfold. And specifically in this wintering in period, I know I'm moving at a slower pace. I know I want a gentler rhythm. I know I'm not going to be at my full capacity where other times of the year I might be spitting out a ton of work in a couple days. And this time of the year, I'm not going to say I'm not productive. I am very productive and I do a lot of intro perspective. This time of the year, I'm creating a really strong foundation. So even though I'm not productive in the work output that I'm necessarily giving right off in the first couple weeks of the year, I'm setting foundations to really make sure that when I am at full capacity, I'm moving in a direction that feels right and is on track with what I need in all these different elements of my life. I would welcome the same to you. Like think about a daily and weekly schedule that allows for a slower pace. And yes, I understand that if you're working in an office from 9 to 5, you might not necessarily be able to have too much flexibility during those hours. But on the weekends, you can think about, let's get outside when it's light out. Let's cozy in and have a campfire this afternoon to really just get some fresh air. Um, and like this is all about that daily and weekly schedule, right? It's what are these little touch points that you want to welcome in with your family during this wintering in season. For us, we have a ski cabin, and that's somewhere that we just go and spend quality time together a lot in the winter. And there's not really any agenda there. Like we make little campfires outside, we pull the kids around on the sleds, we go for winter walks and look at the stars, and we just really cozy in without doing very much. And that's our way of spending time and resetting. And we always come back from that cabin just feeling like we took like a 10-day getaway to somewhere tropical. Like we always just feel so refreshed after that. And that's something that as a family we really enjoy. So it's also just like fitting in these moments in your days and weeks during this wintering in season that just feel really good for you as a family and also for yourself. What are things that are making you really excited this time of the year to do that are specific to the season that you can't do the rest of the year? Okay, and then so this brings me to my very last way I'm wintering in right now, which is point number 6. And bear with me here. This is doing nothing. It's finding moments of stillness and doing the art of nothing. And it feels really uncomfortable in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, but the eye-opening things that come out of it are pretty incredible. So I would suggest you try it if you haven't before. Find moments where you're doing absolutely nothing, and that doesn't mean listening to an audiobook or reading. That means, like, literally doing nothing. You are taking a few moments to pause and gaze at the horizon. You are stopping yourself in a busy hustle around your house cleaning and just standing still and being present for a few moments. And the art of doing nothing can feel like we are being unproductive, that we are lazy, all these thoughts keep coming in that we're doing something wrong. But these are the moments where you can have the most clarity. You might answer big questions that you've been trying to work through. You might have a huge breakthrough for some type of issue you had at work, or all of a sudden come up with this really creative idea for something in your entrepreneurial business, or feel like you need to reach out to someone in your life that you haven't connected with recently. And that just gives you the nudge that something's telling you that this is coming up for a reason. So having the stillness to just do nothing and just be fully present in that gaze or that moment of just breathing, there is most likely going to be something that comes out of it later for you in some way. So I invite you to create your own ways that you are wintering in this season and how that is going to make you actually feel more productive and feel more fulfilled and give you way more out of this year to come, rather than try and start off strong and be unaligned with where you're going, only to figure it out later and find yourself burned out by June. So, yes, so that is what I have for you today. And I also want to just share that this whole idea of wintering in and seasonal living is what inspired our winter retreats. I had this idea for a wintering in retreat back in 2024 sometime, and we had our first one last winter. This will be our second winter retreat, and it does encompass so many of these elements of let's give ourselves some time to pause, to reflect, to have some cozy comfort foods that also have a conscious twist at the retreat, that give us movement that is slower but also fires us up and makes us feel strong, where we can feel fulfilled as a mom on a break, on a retreat, but also in parts where our kids are fully welcome into the space to connect with us. So if that is calling to you, please go grab one of our last spots at our wintering retreat. So if you want one of these spots, please get in touch with me. Before they're all gone, we would love to welcome you. And it's just such a cozy, beautiful, something very magical about that season of just taking a beat to envision and prepare for the year ahead. So, thanks so much for listening today, and again, I hope to see you soon or listening in next time. All right. So, thank you so much for listening today, and I would love to hear how you are wintering in. So if you have anything you want to share, I would love to hear it. Feel free to send me an email or a DM over on Wander Wild Family Retreats on Instagram page. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. All right, till next time.